I've actually observed Salma Mrs. class when we were doing B.Ed together. So it's been years. I would love to again sit in her class and watch her teach because really, she's really a master when she wants to be. She's very good. So I would like to watch her take history class. If we were allowed to lead maths like the way you all were in the 9th and the 10th, I would have dropped maths. I would have dropped maths like the way the kids are allowed. But if you can't win them, you join them. That is my mantra in life. If you can't win them, you join them. If you can't leave maths, you embrace it and say, this is it. Like, this is. She's very beautiful. She's very cute, very charming. My friend says that about her. Wonderful lady. So yeah. So and when I had that answer in the quiz, she was like, "See, you had to end with Mrs. Piluwale because you're so enamored with her charming personality and everything by her." So yes, she was my best friend in school was Salma Miss because in Maneji Cooper School because we started off we did our B.Ed together. We did our B.Ed together. Now the thing was, it was my first day at the B.Ed college, and I'm sitting in the bus, and suddenly from near Maneji Cooper School, one girl, lady, gets into the bus, and she's traveling, and she gets off on the same stop that I get off. Then she starts walking in the same direction that I'm taking. She's ahead and ahead, and she's looking at me very suspiciously because Salma Miss gets very, very suspicious about strangers like this. She's looking at me and wondering if I'm following her. Luckily for me, I'm a girl, so she's not that worried. Then she enters the same premises that and I follow her. And that's when we realized that we are students in the same college, and that's how our friendship started, and we grew together. That one year, she was my support system, and I was hers. Um, we are supposed to look after a pot of plant, to as teachers, teacher training school at college it was, and we're supposed to look after a little bit of potted plant. And I don't have green. There ends my career as a gardener.
Horticulture.
I forget that gardener, I would say. So I couldn't look after the plant. I knew it would die, so I gave it to Salma's mama. Salma's mama, wonderful green thumb. So she looked after that potted plant for me. And there was some work that we had to do, some project that we had to carry out, research and all that. So I prepared the project part. Salma won a prize for the best plant, and I won the prize for the best project. I did her project, and I won for the project, and she won because she did my potted plant. She won for the plant. The teachers didn't know that, but it was somehow God's way of blessing both of us. So Salma Miss is very special. She's very, very special, and she's fun. No one knows how fun. She's super fun.
Since now you've been, discarding your career options. So when did you actually realize that, you want to take teaching as a profession, and what was that particular moment that you realized that, okay, this is the path that I really want to work for the rest of my life?
Like the awakening. Actually, I never had that awakening. It was my husband who realized that I would make an excellent teacher, considering that I gave him so many lectures. Okay, this and instructions and point number 1, please sit down. Point number 2, settle down properly. Make sure that this is that. Please switch on the fan. Make sure. So points, perfect points. And that is like a true geography person. So he realized that I was born to be a teacher. And he thought he was saving his own neck because he thought if I would go to a school and, let it out with you all, I would come home and he would be safe. So I think it was
lesser
his
instructions
realization.
for me then.
Sorry?
Lesser instructions for me then, because the majority part has been done in school.
Absolutely, Yash. So the great awakening it was him, not me. So he said, be a teacher, you're born to it. He shadowed me, he gave me a lot of encouragement, and here I am. He said, okay, do your PA. And he took my admissions, by the way. I was not even in the city. He ran around places and made sure that I got my admissions and everything. So not that I had a choice. And then I became a teacher, and now he's happy. And he's very happy.
He's very happy.
I never liked kids till I came to Manipji, and then I fell in love with kids. Yes, it's a confession. It's an honest confession. I was like, I'm not going to be around these kids all the time because kids are kids, and they are like scary. My son was scary, so I was not at all keen. And my B.Ed teachers used to be very worried. They said she is not fond of kids. she's going to make a terrible teacher. But, and I thought I'd make a terrible one. But, when I went into the classroom, when I interacted with the children, then I realized that I could play the ringleader and they wouldn't be judgmental about that. And I fell in love with the kids. 5th, 6th, and 7th, because they have a sense of humor, they can laugh. I remember this particular kid. We have these poetries, these Wordsworth.
Yeah.
So they had this in 5th standard. So the word gay was used. So one kid got up and said, "What is the meaning of this word gay?" So I said, "Gay means no, Miss XYZ called me gay." So I said, "That's okay. You are a happy-go-lucky person. Yeah, you are a very nice happy." The other kid got up and said, "Miss, you don't know anything. You just don't know anything. It's when a man loves a man." So I was like, I couldn't directly say that you're wrong.
Yeah.
So I said, that is true, but we are here in the context means you're a nice person. You're a happy, cheerful person. So I had to change that's when I realized the innocence of the whole.
Nice, I know.
It was my first, that's something that I remember from my first year as a class teacher. And I can't forget that ever. So.
What are the things, or probably what are something about you that students would be surprised to find out about you as Khushnu ma'am? Now that we know so much about you, ma'am, and you have shared so much about your personal life as well as professional life, but when the students are watching this, so what is that one thing, or maybe more than one thing, that the students will be finding about you when they get to know you as a person? That's surprising.
That I'm a fun person. I'm a fun person. I don't just keep giving impositions. I'm a fun person. A great human, a fun person. Jokes aside, I think they would find that I'm just like one of you. Only that I have a role to play that allows me to call the shots. But otherwise, I'm just like kids.
But what are the goofiest things you've seen your students do, or something that still makes you laugh today when you think about it?
See, I don't think I remember students doing goofy things, but I do remember doing goofy things. And Shashwat, it was you in the class at that point of time. We were in 6th A class. Or 6th B, I remember. I was your class teacher then, and I was sitting there, and I distinctly remember, because this was one of my embarrassing moments. The imposition book came and all, and 5th period, 6th day, and I'm signing, and I'm asking you guys, I'm the class teacher, guys, where is 6th day? So that's the thing that, and you are like very with a straight face. You are said, "Miss, this is our class 6th day." Okay, so I'm coming here in the 5th period, guys. So that must have been the goofiest thing I've done. Sitting with you all as your class teacher and signing a substitution book and wondering where to go. Oh, yeah, I'm goofy, so I can't judge other people. I can't judge people that way.
That was a great story, though.
Yes, you were there in the class. You one of you only, Miss our class. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sorry. हाँ भैया यही आने का है. Told them that. Asked one thing that the students don't really know about me. They don't know that I'm really fond of collecting certificates. Okay? Now, Shashwat, you know, but now I'm really fond of collecting. The persistence knows that I'm crazy fond of collecting certificates, but only that they should be true.
How did you manage it so successfully that when we speak about value education, there's only one teacher coming to our mind, and that's you. So you have made it so beautifully, that path that you've created for the students, that value education, we know that the essence of it right now. But considering in the previous time, I'm sure you must be having some challenges, or maybe some strategy you must have used to actually connect with the students.
I may have sounded very goody-goody at that point of time, but I actually believed what I was teaching. Perhaps based on the fact that I was actually believing the good of what I was doing as a value education teacher, and I took it seriously enough. Perhaps that's why you can remember me as a value education teacher, and not a geography teacher or a literature teacher. But value education should not be underestimated. It's a very, very important. Currently, actually, it should be introduced as a proper subject.
When it comes to handling your kids in school, I'm sure you must have, some of them might have also tried to trigger your patience, and some of them, you might be also losing the faith. Imposition, that was one way. But then
Yeah.
we never observed, Pushtu ma'am yelling or shouting, on top of her voice, or maybe, getting too aggressive. So how did you manage to always remain so calm and composed while teaching?
That have changed. Yeah, no one told you that I scream a lot these days.
What?
I'm yelling and screaming all over the place. But you know what? Like I said, Shashwat, I told you that I fell in love with the kids because of a certain way that they are. I'll give you an instance. Some book went missing in the class one day.
Yeah.
Okay, it went missing in the class before the exam. Good child, her book went missing. So I said, if anyone has taken the book by mistake, I would like you to go through your bags and just as secretly as you could, just put it back. I wasn't expecting it to be returned. So that actually shows that I was also being very wrong and judgmental. The book was returned. The book was returned. The book came back. And that is why I believe that when you talk to people and you tell them that, this is the right thing to do, and you just kind of nudge them in the right direction. And do not judge. I should not have judged, because if I should have actually believed that at that point of time that if I would say something, it could probably be done because children do listen to their teachers. The kids value their teachers that way. So my word was valued and the book was returned.
That's nice.
2-3 years back this took place, and I was really very touched, and it kind of rejuvenated me, and I feel happy. So my patience would come from that point that people do listen to you, children do listen to you. But sometimes I do yell. I'm good at yelling also. Want a demo?
I've never heard you yell in.
No, ma'am.
Never heard you yell. You're always the teacher in class who was always energetic, right? The way that you moved your hands, the way that you got everyone's attention. I think that's how I remember you back in
Thank
school.
you.
So I never remember you yelling.
But I'm a crocodile at home. Let me tell you that I like watching old serials lying on the bed, like a crocodile. So outside the school, I'm energetic, but in the school, I'm a different. At home, I'm a different person, like a crocodile. Aram se, take it easy, kind
We
of.
drain all that energy off you, so you have to be a crocodile once you reach home.
So my husband took the right decision. Go to school, let go of all that energy, come back and just lie down like a crocodile. No lectures, nothing. I have escaped. He's right. See, men are smart. See,
Smart,
so Malika,
as
we were
always.
right. We were right. Men are smart. Men are smart.
Next question for you. If given a chance to sit through another teacher's class, who would you choose and why would you choose that teacher?
I've actually observed Salma Mrs. class when we were doing B.Ed together. So it's been years. I would love to again sit in her class and watch her teach because she's really a master when she wants to be. She's very good. So I would like to watch her take history class. She's very good at the history class. I've seen her, the models and all that she used to make, and I used to be very fascinated. So I would want to go through that fascination again, and I would like to be a part of her class secretly. Invisible cloak, Harry Potter kind of person.
Now that you spoke about it, what do you believe is the most important aspect of being a teacher, or the most important attribute of being a teacher?
Actually, I've never thought of it that way. I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Sometimes angry, sometimes calm, sometimes happy. We should try and avoid bringing our moods to the class. Like if you're angry, we should leave it out. That I feel is very important. And most important, we should respect individual differences. Because in that classroom, there was Namit, a brilliant with craft work. Then there are kids who are brilliant. Mudit is he was brilliant. His paintings, he gifted a painting, beautiful painting. I still have it in my living room. And yeah, so there are kids who are good at painting, good in a lot of things, and you should respect that. And it's okay if they're not that great academically. It's all right because eventually we all get there. I was a very average student. I used to always fail my math exams. And Marathi. But Shashwat, I would like to, convey this message that while failing all my maths, all my Marathi exams, and Marathi was a part of our SSC 10th board exams. And at one point of time, I just drilled it into my head that this is the most important subject that I have to study, Marathi, and I can't let go of them because they are a part of my studies. And I convinced myself that was very important. I kept studying these subjects and I did better in Marathi than English in my boards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did better in my, because I convinced myself. And for a person who would fail math, I got distinction in math. So that is my achievement.
That's true.
But having said that, if we were allowed to leave maths like the way you all were in the 9th and the 10th, I would have dropped maths. I would have dropped maths like the way the kids are allowed. But if you're not, if you can't win them, you join them. That is my mantra in life. If you can't win them, you join them. If you can't leave maths, you embrace it and say, this is it, like this is, then you
That's true.
can do good. So just don't stick to one thing. Don't get stubborn. But if you can't, like you couldn't leave maths, then you embrace it and you do good. That's the thing.
That's true.
I strongly believe that. I strongly believe that.
That's right. It's a good message to put out to the kids who might end up taking a lot of stress given academics.
I'm telling you, I'm born to be a life coach. See, that's a new career plan. That's a new career plan. That's it. Thank you, Shashwat. On your show, I've discovered that I can be a life coach.
Yes.
With all the mantras and everything I can give out. Like Guru mantras, we call them.
What are your opinions on the excessive freedom and access to technology that kids have today? So has it been helpful to the kids or has it been the other way around? What's your input on that?
See, 3-4 years back, we were going to a far-flung school in Dombivli somewhere. Okay, for a Frank Anthony debate. I was taking 2 kids and me. There were just 3 of us in the cab. And it was, Frank Anthony in the monsoons. So Dombivli is so far away. So we were going through the hills. Hills were on both the sides, and the fellow lost his data. The cabby fellow. So he said, "आप लोग अपना data चालू करके जरा आप देखो हम लोग कहाँ पे हैं." I said, "वो सब बंद करो, मेरे को रास्ता मालूम है, I'll take you." I didn't need the data. I took him through the shortcut and all that, and we landed in the school right on time because the Google thing was not working, the device was not working. But I knew so don't depend completely on technology. Yeah. Let it go hand in hand with common sense. Let it go hand in hand with common sense. So Malika, now I would like to point out that this is what I was talking about when I said that we go exploring on weekends, the countryside. So I had explored this place and I knew it like the back of my hand. I knew the shortcuts and everything because I'd been there so often. It was in the hills, far away, jungles on both the sides, greenery, rains, clouds, everything. And the fellow was a little nervous, the cabby fellow, because he had lost his data. I said, "Don't worry, I'll take you." So go out, explore. Yeah, leave the phone at home. Don't, because we will want to take selfies and you should avoid that. Yeah. I do that. Shashwat knows that. When I travel, I started traveling after 40. Before 40, I hadn't traveled. I started traveling, but once I started traveling, I started traveling all over the world, and I still go without data. So my mobile, if I'm out of the house and out of the network zone, nobody can reach me on this planet. Nobody I know can. I can just be by myself. So New York, I have explored without any data, all by myself using a map.
Wow.
And I've covered everything that I wanted to. I've been on all the 3 buildings: the Rockefeller, the Empire State, and World One, all 3. And I managed to cross the Brooklyn Bridge, walk across. I did all those things by myself. And I knew that the New York, the ferry service from Manhattan to Staten Island. I took that ferry because it's free service. I'd already been to Liberty once, so I did not have to take that one. So the second time I just took the ferry up and down. And I feel you can do a lot of things, just don't keep relying on technology. The world is out there for you to explore, not just countrysides, I mean, even cities. There's so many things to see. And if you keep wondering when is your next photograph going to come from, you're just going to not.
Correct.